Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this video. This is going to be the last video that I put out this season or this year of 2024. I will come back if something is dire or I really need to show you guys something, but I don't think I'm going to be doing anything much more for the rest of the season. It's really just at a maintaining point. Just going to continue mowing this every 2 to 3 days just to kind of help encourage the growth and encourage the lateral tillering of the turf type Tall Fescue, and keeping the Kentucky Bluegrass that I've got mixed in, which is, to be honest, I've only said it was the star Kentucky Bluegrass, but I had a bag that I accidentally ordered of the GCI turf type Tall Fescue mixed with the Midnight, which is the cool blue. So I put that down. So this is a stand of turf type Tall Fescue and Kentucky Bluegrass. Every single week it gets better and better. I still plan on doing another overseed, but that's not going to happen until the following fall. I'm going to let this do its own thing, stretch out, kind of keep it airy so that the growth can thicken up on its own. I'm not going to do anything by pushing something in the spring, knowing that it's going to have a really, really hard time in the summer to withstand the heat. So maybe it would work in Tennessee, but I don't plan on throwing that out just to waste money. So I'm going to let this do its own thing until the following fall, and then I'm going to do another overseed, but it's going to be more of a mix of cultivars that I've picked out. Some of them are in the GCI mix, but some of them are not. They're just cultivars that do really, really, really well in Tennessee. In the last video, I went over those cultivars. So if you're interested in that, just kind of go back and look at that. So it is Saturday, November 16th. This is probably going to keep growing until probably December 1st, I would say, is when it's going to really, really stop growing, and it'll be at its good height of cut at that, and I can just let it go for the rest of the year. That's my guess. I don't know. I'm not a weatherman, so it might be completely wrong. But I'm just going to keep it maintained up until that point. And today, since I can see that our soil temperatures have already dropped 10 degrees from the last week, and that's 5-day average. And so our 5-day average temperature for last week was about, I think it was 64 or 65, something like that. Today, it's 55. So that is the 5-day average, so you can see that it's really starting to drop off. If you look around the area, a lot more leaves have hit the ground. A lot of the trees are starting to look bare with only just a few leaves left over. And pretty much everything that's left is just the evergreens in this area. The yard looks great. So let me switch it around, and we'll kind of give you a little bit of a walkthrough and some of the things that I'm planning on doing to really wrap this up. Alright, so we're just gonna walk around the yard real quick. So I did something along the edge of my property. I literally took my weed eater and I cut in, so I did kind of like a groove all the way up, and then I angled my weed eater like this to kind of really define the edge of the property. It's not completely straight. If I was going to be really anal about this, I would have done like I don't know, got one of those lasers out here, probably at night so that you can see it, and then did some kind of like a spray paint or chalk line, or I don't know, something just to really do a straight line and then cut that. But I did as best as I could by eye, and just doing this by hand with the weed eater, but really just angled that in so that you can see the true edge of what I would assume is the edge of my property. I don't know if I'm completely right, but that's just what I would assume. Over here, I kind of edged out the natural area a little bit, just with a weed eater. I didn't get in there with a shovel or anything. It could be cleaned up a little bit more, but as you can see, I finally came back in with some pine straw and covered all of this. So that pine straw in this area, I did this last year, and over a year's time, all of this is going to break down. So the reason I did this is to suppress weeds from coming in, because this is mostly just dirt and just soil just for my plants to live in it, which most of the plants that are in here are starting to go dormant. They're brown. Some of them's got a little bit of green left over. My dahlias, I've got to say, like, they have not done that well this year. And I tried to do the technique where you cut the dahlia once it, or the dahlia stem once it gets up to, I think, 10 to 12 inches, and that's to cause it to do more of a long stem. So this is so tall. So this whole stem right here, from here all the way up, what you get if you cut it at that 10 to 12 mark. But if you don't, then you start getting like really thick broomstalk type stems. And I don't know if I've got any as an example, because I cut all of them. Yep, I cut all of them. But I mean, there's still flowers. There's still some here, but I didn't do that great of a job of keeping them upright. They've just been falling over and really just didn't do that good this year. I'm planning on the following year, when I do this again, I'm just not going to cut it. I'm just going to let it go to that broomstalk and get a really thick stem on it, and just let it put out as many flowers as it can. Because with that thick stem, they didn't fall over as much, and the height of the flowers got only probably about to here, not all the way to the edge of the deck, the edge of the arm rail right here. So yeah, I'm just kind of learned something new this year, so I'm gonna do that a little bit different. And so let me turn it around, and you can see it's about 3 o'clock. I just kind of want to tell you what time it is, just so you know, like, position of the sun. This area along the edge has been the slowest to fill in, but it is filling in. You can see that there's some gaps here and there, but all of it is filling in. You can see I kind of cut lower in this area where I really edged out the property line all the way to the fence. And then again at this natural area at the top, put more of the pine straw, and then edged out the natural area. So I've been not really edging, but I'm angling. That's kind of what I'm doing. I want it to kind of look like the grass is just flowing into it, and not just here's an edge and it's just stopping, just kind of like a flow, like bullnose. If you're in like trim or countertop bullnose, you know, that's what I'm doing. So let me turn around, get to the other side, so this will be a better angle. But check it out. Looks pretty amazing, guys. Looks really good. So you can see I'm not really striping, but I kind of use my mower to follow some natural waterway lines on how it's going to flow down this, because my hill seems to flow down this way, and then it kind of comes over and then does this, and then goes down the side. So side looks really good. Natural areas, well, there's sun glare, but natural areas good. And then edge up against my flower beds and deck, they're pretty good. All right, now some of you have told me that you've got areas that are heavily shaded and it feels like nothing's really happening, nothing's really growing. I don't know. I haven't talked to some of you in a while, but let me know if your grass is starting to grow in and it's starting to show up like mine is, because I know if you've seen some of my videos in the past weeks, and this has been mostly bare. We still have bare areas up against the house, but as you can see, it's filling in. It's working, it's doing its thing, it's tillering out. With me cutting this every 2 to 3 days, it's doing what it's supposed to do and fill in. And again, if you're like, wait a second, you're talking about fill in, but this is fescue, right? Yeah, it's fescue. Because actually, sorry, I'm not trying to spin the phone around so much. But yeah, I did not put any Kentucky Bluegrass in this area because of its heavily shaded area. KBG doesn't do that well at all in shaded areas. So I focused nothing but fescue in this area. This is nothing that most people know that spreads out quickly. It's just fescue. But just with me cutting it every 2 to 3 days and making it concentrate on the tillering effect, it's working. Some of the seed that I've had up against the house have been sitting there dormant and probably hadn't had enough sunlight or moisture, and it's finally getting it over the natural rain and very few hours of sunlight that it's getting. So it's working. It's just going to take time. And when I come back next season at the beginning of spring, we'll see how much this area has changed. And I'll use this clip as a kind of a flashback. So let's look against the yard again. Still kind of did like an angle waterfall. I've said in another video, it's not as clean as I would like it to be. If I had power scissors, this would probably look a lot better. And I've said that in a previous video, but I'm still practicing doing this with just a weed eater. And I'm getting a little bit better, but yeah, I like that. Let's look on this side. So I've got the same. The grass is literally just kind of rolling into the driveway or to the curb. So we just got done spoon feeding again. And I just want to show you what I put out. So I put out this Simple Lawn Solutions, or it's saying Simple Grow Solutions, but it's the Simple Solutions brand. This is the MicroBooster, micronutrients. This has got a mixture of magnesium, a little bit of sulfur, iron, manganese, and zinc. It's got a little bit of that, and you want to make sure that you read the instructions. So I did about 4 fluid ounces per 1 gallon of water in my tank that I've got. So it's a 4-gallon tank, and I made sure that I applied it after 3 p.m. because I didn't get out and start cutting the grass until after 1 o'clock. And so I waited until after 3 p.m. I think it's, let's see, what time is it now? It's 3:40 right now. So I waited after that to apply this. I did not mix it with any other ides or mixture. This was just this alone. So this is going to help the grass have the available nutrients and keep this healthy into the winter. So it's just another thing. This has a little bit of iron, which is good. It strengthens the lawn. It makes it a little bit more hardy and strengthens it for the cold temperatures of winter. So the iron is going to naturally darken it and give it a little bit more of that color. But I'm also putting this down to give the lawn the nutrients to hold on to during the winter time, and the hardiness to hold up during the winter time. It should allow it to stay greener during the winter time. Again, this is my first time on fescue, turf type tall fescue in general. So I don't know what to expect come hard frost winter in the Middle Tennessee area. I'm expecting this to stay green, just kind of from what I've seen around the neighborhood. Some of the other grasses that I've seen stay green, I know that they don't have ryegrass unless it's just like low cut, like it's on a Bermuda lawn. Then it's overseeded with ryegrass. But from what I'm seeing, there's some fescue out there that stays green. So I'm hoping this will do that. And the real test from what I normally see is after a good snow, if we get a snow, any amount of good snow this year, if it's early next year that we get it, then we'll see after the snow melts, what does it look like? And I'll probably bring out the camera to kind of show like, hey, it snowed, so after this melts, let's see what it looks like. Is it still green? Does it have pockets of snow mold? Do we have any kind of issues, or is this just perfect? So I will come back during that time and document this. I just want everybody in the Middle Tennessee area to see this lawn as a pure test of what does best in either this part of the transition zone or just Middle Tennessee area in general. So we applied another spoon feeding, and we might do more. Let me see, I gotta check again. See how often you can put this stuff out. I haven't done it in a while. Let's see. Yeah, so it's a monthly thing. So this is probably going to be my one-time application. I don't think I'm going to be putting out any more on middle of December. It'll probably be way too cold, and the grass is not going to do anything to soak up the nutrients, so it'll just run off in most cases. So this is the last spoon feeding for the yard. I have no more nutrients to put out. I've gotten rid of everything that I had left over, so I'm just going to be saving up my money and purchasing products to be used in the following season. So this is it. This is the last fertilizer. We're going to let this go. We're going to set it and forget it again, and keep mowing it until it stops growing, and then that'll be the final height of cut set, which will be 2 inches, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so I just wanted to come in here real quick and kind of show you what I need to do to really make sure that I am ready to be shut down for the winter. I have already taken off the battery out of my beehive. I am going to be disconnecting all of this. Any kind of underground hose that I have, I am shutting it off. I'm going to be disconnecting all the hoses, and I'm going to mark these because I had a hard time trying to figure out what zone was what. So I am going to mark on here what number each zone is going to be, and mark the hoses for what zone each is going to be, just to kind of make this easier for me next year. So yeah, I'm going to disconnect everything, disconnect from the main spigot, and disconnect this Y. So I'm going to be getting ready just to go ahead and winterize this. I might just for right now disconnect this and leave my hose pipe ready just in case if I need that before the major freeze will come in the next couple weeks. We're not quite there, but I am done when it comes to the sprinkler. We're not watering anymore. So this is all shut off, and it's only going to be needed when necessary. And I wanted to also point out, this is a Giraffe brand. Right here, you can see the side is already popped off, and that was probably my fault because I left this out over the winter, and I think the water inside got froze up and expanded the plastic and popped off. This no longer retracts, so this is one expensive piece of equipment. It's very nice. The one up front still works, but this one back here, which was the Pro version, so I don't know why the Pro version went first, but this expanded, no longer retracts, and I am this year probably going to just trash this and get a new one. But the one that still works in the front, I am going to pack it up, make sure it's all rolled up, probably put it up underneath my house or put it in the garage, and make sure that the winter is not going to expand it and mess it up, like this one. So that's kind of some of the things that I'm doing. That's all going to be shut off. And then my sprinklers, actually, just show, these sprinklers I'm not going to be leaving outside either. So I am going to be disconnecting this, bringing this into the garage, because these are plastic and they will expand and contract and probably mess up internals if water is caught inside. This is just a hose end sprayer, so it's not going to be like your average sprinkler system that you can just blow out. I've never tried doing a blowout on any of these type sprinklers. If you have, let me know. I've just not tested that. But I am really just going to disconnect these and put these in a box in the garage just to be ready for next year. And same with the sprinklers that I've got at the top, and I've got a shut-off valve up there just to make sure no water. This is gravity, so when I shut that off, most of the water is going to come back down here, and when it flows down here, it goes to that hose right there. So all of that's going to be shut off. This was buried, I don't even remember when I did that project, but it is buried below the frost line. So for Tennessee, I believe that's under or past 12 inches, I believe is what it is. So this is below the frost line of Tennessee, so I'm not worried about anything under this ground freezing. So that's what I'm going to be doing to pack this up and winterize and get ready for relaxing, I guess, for the holidays. Well guys, it is time to close out this week's video and this year's video. And this is my last video of the year, unless something dire comes up and I really want to show you guys something. Then I'll probably come back maybe with my first ever short, or just a very short clip that I put. But other than that, I am ready to move into some of my other projects that I've got going on that I need to focus on, plus family and things that I just need to start paying a little bit more attention to going into the holidays. So we are close to Thanksgiving, so yeah, this is my last week's video. I just checked my channel just to see where I was subscriber count. Like I've said before, my goal was just to get to 100 subscribers, and I see that I'm now at, I think at today's count, was 155. So wow, you know, just getting to 100 was really, really cool. To see that I've already got 55 more plus my goal. Awesome. I really appreciate that. I'm seeing a lot more of you are commenting on the videos. A lot more of you are liking the videos. I greatly appreciate that. That's really, really cool. It shows that this Hale of a community is growing, and this is going to be hella cool, you know, really. So I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's video. So again, my name is Mickey Hale, signing off for the season. This is One Hale of a Lawn. I'll see you guys next year.